while talking about the anatomy of the orbit, there are four surgical spaces of the orbit. So whenever you want to intervene surgically into the orbit, you have to approach the orbit through those spaces only. So the four spaces are subperiosteal space, peripheral space, intraconal space, and subtenon space.
ఇప్పుడు వినన్
So you can open the orbit. As I told you, the differentiating point, the landmark, surgical landmark between the lids and the orbit is septum orbital. So all the structures behind septum orbital is orbit, is the contents of the orbit. Anterior to the septum orbitals are the contents of the lid. So you can approach the orbit by taking various incisions. So these are the various incisions which are shown here. So A incision is subbrow incision, or it is also known as Stahl incisions. So it is a very big incision. Orbit will open very nicely, and but it will leave a bad scar on the eye or the face. The second incision is B, which is you will take the incision in the lid crease and then extend it into the lateral canthus like this, as it is shown here. You take the incision into the lid crease and then continue it into the crow feet, which will be present at lateral canthus. Whenever you wrinkle or close your eyes, you will see the wrinkling at the lateral canthus, that is known as crow feet. So you can hide the incision in the crow feet. So the advantage of incision B or lid crease incision is you can hide the scar in the naturally present lid crease. But the disadvantage is you need expert assistant to retract the tissue, and you may liable to injure LPS and induce some amount of ptosis. Okay, and next incision is Reese buckler incision, that is C. You can cut the lateral canthus and then go deep to the lateral orbital wall and then enter into the orbit. It's a very small incision, but again, you need experts to assist you to retract the tissue and expose the orbital tumor. The D is transcaruncular incision. Through the caruncle or conjunctiva also, you can take the incision and enter into the medial part of the orbit. The tumor which are medial to the globe but lateral to the medial rectus can be approached by this incision. The next incision is E, that is Lynch incision. You can take the incision on the skin, identify the lacrimal sac and lacrimal system, reflect the whole thing along with periorbita, and then enter the medial wall of the orbit. And any tumor medial to the medial rectus or lateral to the medial rectus can be removed by this incision, Lynch incision. The, again, this F incision is only lid crease incision. J is transconjunctival incision. J is inferior lid margin incision. K is again inferior lid crease incision. Like upper lid has a lid crease, lower lid will also have a lid crease. You can take incision into the lower lid crease and you can hide the scar in the lower lid. So these are the different incision by which you can enter into the orbit. So which incision has to be taken when? If the tumor is in superiorly or in anterior orbit, you can approach the tumor by subbrow incision or upper lid crease incision or stellar Wright's incision. These are the three incisions by which you can open the anterior orbit or superior anterior orbit. So this incision is subbrow incision, and this is lid crease incision. And when you extend this incision, subbrow incision laterally, it is becomes stellar right incision. So these incisions are taken to remove lacrimal gland tumor. Pituitary. You want when the tumor is in the orbit, then you can approach these incisions. One is subciliary incision. Just immediately beneath the lashes of the lower lid, you can take the incision, or you can take incision in the lower lid crease, or you can take lateral canthotomy cantholysis and then take a vertical incision here and swing the lower lid down. It is known as swinging lower lid incision. So when you want to approach any tumor which is in inferior portion of the orbit, you can easily approach by taking these incisions. So now one by one we will take the tumor and best approach to and best incision to be taken to remove that tumor. This lady has got a mass in the inferior orbit, which is inferior to the globe, and it is transilluminant. So it is a cystic lesion. So we remove this incision, tumor by taking subciliary or inferior lid crease incision and remove the cyst. And you can see the scar is hidden in the inferior lid crease. The scar is not visible. It is hidden in the natural lid crease which is present. So cosmetically it is acceptable. As an oculoplasty surgeon, you should not give ugly scars on the face of the patient. So here this patient is having fracture floor of the orbit. The CT scan shows, you can see here, coronal view of the CT scan shows there is discontinuity in the floor of the orbit, and typical teardrop sign is there. Inferior rectus is entrapped, has fallen into the maxillary sinus, and you can see the patient is, when patient is asked to elevate the eye, left eye he is able to elevate, but right eye he is not able to elevate because inferior rectus is trapped into the fracture of the floor. So this you can easily approach by swinging lower lid incision. You can cut the lateral canthus here and take a vertical incision, and then take the incision from the conjunctival side into the inferior orbital margin, and you can expose the periorbita here, elevate the periorbita, identify the fracture site, and release the entrapped inferior rectus, and then place a plate, silicon plate, to close the fracture gap, and then you can close, structure the conjunctiva, and then repair the lateral canthus. So all this major surgery you can do from 4 mm incision, which can be hidden in the crow feet at the lateral canthus. So after repair, you can see the child has regained the elevation, and scar can be hidden in the lateral canthus or crow feet. The natural creases which will be present whenever you wrinkle your eyelids. You will see crow feet at the lateral canthus. You can hide the scar in that crow feet. So this is a case of exophthalmos. Proptosis is about 26 millimeters. Hertz reading is there, and this lady had compressive optic neuropathy, and she was not responding to medical treatment of steroid 1 gram IV methylprednisolone we had given for 3 days. Still, the optic nerve compression is not relieved. So we planned 3-valve decompression with orbital fat removal in this lady. So the CT scan shows enlarged inferior rectus and medial rectus. You can see coronal view showing all four recti enlarged and compressing on the optic nerve. This is the optic nerve shadow, and this is here also in optic nerve shadow is there. And what we did swinging lower lid incision in this lady. We cut the lateral canthus and then we expose the conjunctiva, and we cut the conjunctiva at the inferior orbital margin and expose the floor of the orbit, and we created a fracture in the floor of the orbit to accommodate the enlarged inferior rectus muscle, and then from the same incision we went medially and we broke the walls of the ethmoid sinuses to accommodate the enlarged medial rectus muscle, and we also removed 8 to 10 cc of the fat. So all this major surgery we can do. At the end, you can see the proptosis is reduced, and 4 millimeter scar we have left here, which is hidden in the crowfeet. Proptosis from 26 millimeter proptosis, it is reduced to 18. So we could achieve 8 millimeters of reduction in proptosis by 2 wall decompression and 8 cc of fat removal from both the eyes. The compression of the optic nerve was relieved. Patient regained the vision 6/6 and color vision was regained up to 17 plates of Ishihara chart. Lateral or anterolateral orbitotomy is indicated, as I told you, whenever you want to remove lacrimal gland tumor. So the big incision is stellar right incision, which is seen in this patient, which is marked. So you will take incision like this up to the lateral wall of the orbit on the temporal side. So it is a very big incision. You don't need anybody's assistance. The orbit will open up, and when you cut the periorbita, you can deliver the lacrimal gland tumor easily. The same tumor you can remove by lid crease incision. You take a lid crease incision here and extend it into the lateral canthus like this. But incision will be small. You need experts' help to retract and show the tumor. And at the end of the surgery, you can hide the scar in the lid crease and in the crowfeet. Reisberg incision is very small incision which is taken at the lateral canthus. You cut the lateral canthus, canthotomy you do, go up to the lateral orbital wall and then expose, retract the upper lid and lower lid and separate the periorbita and expose the lacrimal gland, and you can remove the lacrimal gland tumor. And when you repair, again you will be leaving only 4 millimeter scar which can be hidden in the crowfeet. Every incision will have advantages and disadvantages. Stellar right incision, you don't need anybody's assistance. If you don't have a trained sister or an assistant, you can take this incision, but you will be giving a bad scar which will be seen on the eyelid of the patient. If you take lid crease incision, the scar will be bigger, but you can hide the scar in the lid crease and the crowfeet. Reisberg incision is very small incision, but you need experts to retract and show you the tumor. The lid crease incision, same tumor can be removed by lid crease incision. So these are the steps of lateral orbitotomy. So after taking the incision, you will expose the lateral orbital wall. This is the lateral orbital wall bone which is seen. So after separating the periorbita, what you are supposed to do, you have to remove 1 to 1.5 centimeters of this bone. You can cut it by striker saw or by gouge and hammer. So that orbital wall you will be removing, and then you take the incision in periorbita, above or inferior to the lateral rectus. After removing the lateral orbital bone, you can see the periorbita like this. This is the line diagram. It shows you remove the bone, and this is the periorbita. You have to take incision into the periorbita and then approach the tumor, intraconal tumor. So here on the live surgery, you can see After removal of the bone, the sister is retracting the skin flaps. Another assistant is retracting the globe. And you can see the tumor here, which by cryoprobe, you can do the blunt dissection and pull the tumor out. This is how you do remove the intra-orbital tumor from the intraconal space. Medial orbitotomy is indicated. You can do if the tumors are medial to the globe, towards the nose. So you can approach this space. So tumor can be here in intraconal space, medial to the globe, or it can be medial to the medial rectus also. So these you can approach by Lynch incision. Lynch incision you take at the skin beyond lacrimal sac. You go up to the periorbita and then reflect the whole flap and then come here and enter into this space. This is the space. Or you can take transconjunctival incision as a transcaruncular incision or transconjunctival incision, as I had shown you previously while showing the incisions. Okay. Excenteration means whenever the lid tumor enters into the infiltrates the orbit or intraocular tumor transgress the sclera and enter into the orbit, just enucleation doesn't suffice. You have to remove the whole content of the orbit. This destructive operation is known as exenteration. So it is required whenever a lid tumor infiltrates the globe or intraocular tumor transgress the sclera and enter into the orbit. So in exenteration, what you are going to do is you take the incision in the skin, go up to the bone, separate periorbita, and separate periorbital space up to the apex, all around. And then you remove the whole contents of the orbit, including the globe, optic nerve, and extraocular muscles. Everything, in fact, in one toto, you will remove and empty the orbit and leave the bone only. It is known as exenteration. So this is while doing the exenteration, this is what is left. Only bone will be left and skin. You try to close the skin and leave the bone to get epitheliais. After 3 months, you can see the whole bone will be covered by the skin, and you can prescribe ball prosthesis to the patient. Or if patient cannot afford ball prosthesis, you can prescribe spectacle prosthesis. Whenever a patient puts on the spectacle, the three-dimensional or figure of the eye will be there in front of the exenterated orbit. So to look at it, looks as if the patient is having the eye, but actually it will be empty orbit. The better isocosmesis will be given if the patient wears the ball prosthesis, sticking ball prosthesis, which is costly. It is custom made and it ranges from 30,000 to 1 lakh. So this ends our surgical